We have a major injury update for Terrion Arnold, a player that just a few days ago was believed to have ended his 2025 season, being ruled out indefinitely with a shoulder injury suffered in Week 5 against the Cincinnati Bengals. Now, Terrion Arnold is a player that did not take the step that most people believed he would in year 2. We got a lot of hope and a lot of hype that in camp, Terrion Arnold was playing much cleaner, he was getting his hands on the football, he was turning his head, and he was playing far more like a true dominant cornerback 1 than we saw at the end of his rookie season. Going into 2025, that unfortunately doesn't seem to have come true. Terrion Arnold has struggled early in the year in a cornerback 2 role. He's been tested more than any other player in the Detroit Lions secondary, and while he has made a couple of plays, an interception in Week 2 that was wiped off the board due to a penalty, not his penalty, and potentially 2 interceptions that were taken away from him in Cincinnati, Terrion Arnold has been largely a disappointment. But that being said, he is still an asset to this team, and the team is still better with him in the secondary than it is without him. The initial thought was that Terrion Arnold was done for the year, that his second year and his second season of NFL play was going to end as disappointingly as it had begun. However, much like the David Montgomery situation from a year ago, a second opinion may have saved the young cornerback's second year. Terrion Arnold is now expected to return not only within the season, but potentially within the month of October. We are entering the second week. The Detroit Lions will play Kansas City on the second Sunday of October, and that means that Terrion Arnold could return within 2 to 3 games, meaning even if he misses Kansas City and even if he misses the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, which would end October, going into November, after a bye week to get healthy and get back on track, the Detroit Lions could return not only Terrion Arnold, but potentially DJ Reed, definitely Aleem McNeil, who would likely be activated during the bye week, if not a week prior against Tampa Bay. And that means the Lions could improve 3 starting positions by time the midseason rolls around. This is incredible news for the Detroit Lions defense, incredible news for the Detroit Lions secondary. And while a lot of people are upset at Terrion Arnold, a lot of people are disappointed by his sophomore slump and not necessarily playing as well as we had expected from training camp and OTAs, I think Terrion Arnold was really starting to find himself against Cincinnati. He was playing tight, really tough coverage against Jamar Chase. He was going toe-to-toe with him and T. Higgins, and they went to battle. I mean, those guys fought play in and play out, snap in and snap out, and Terrion Arnold got the best of Jamar Chase. He got the better of T. Higgins on several of the targets and several of the routes, and even had 2 interceptions taken away from him. One on the sideline that just wasn't able to be hauled in, and a second one where he was in position to make that catch. He was in a position to take the football away, and Kirby Joseph stepped in front of him and ended up making that play instead. But Terrion was very much in the vicinity to make that play. I really felt like against Cincinnati, against maybe a weaker passing attack due to the quarterback situation, against more physical wide receivers that don't have the crazy top end speed, Terrion Arnold was really starting to find his stride against 2 very, very good wide receivers, and unfortunately he is now facing another setback. But if we know anything about Terrion Arnold, he is a fighter, he is a competitor. It is a shoulder injury, which means it should not have any impact on his speed, his burst, his acceleration, or his ability to keep up in coverage. Terrion Arnold should return as good as ever, and with the mindset and the mentality that he has and the coaching that he has behind him, I think he will return and play very well. Hopefully he plays better than he did at the start of the season. Like I said, over the last 2 weeks, it really felt like he was starting to find his stride from that second half of the Baltimore game all the way through the third quarter of Cincinnati. And unfortunately, it ends with an injury, right? The Cincinnati Bengals scored 3 points in the first 3.5 quarters thanks to Terrion Arnold. They did not have a deep shot all day, and when they tried, it was taken away in the secondary. It is not a coincidence that as soon as number 6 left the field, the Cincinnati Bengals put up touchdown in the air, touchdown in the air, and touchdown in the air. They scored 3 straight times, one of which was a 64-yard bomb over the top to Jamar Chase that was not an option when Terrion Arnold was on the field. Terrion statistically may not be as good as a lot of people were expecting. Terrion Arnold from the tape may not be as explosive as we expected out of Alabama, may not be as good at taking the football away as we were hoping for, but Terrion Arnold is a good cornerback. Terrion Arnold is a starting caliber cornerback in this league, and I don't care what PFF says, I don't care what necessarily the statistics say. Terrion Arnold is a cornerback in the NFL. He is a starting caliber cornerback in the NFL, and getting him back sooner rather than later is going to be great and really big news for the Detroit Lions. So some exciting stuff there, but with all of that being said, that's all I got for you guys right now. Thank you so much for watching. If you have not subscribed yet, please go down below and do so. We have daily Detroit Lions content, so if you don't want to miss it, make sure you subscribe and hit that bell notification. But with that being said, thank you so much for watching, and until next time, and as always, go Lions!